And he's calling for the knockout punch. Knockout punch, ducked underneath though by Strowman. Lifts Big Show up, got him. Oh, slam.
Wow.
Cover by Strowman. Enough to put Big Show away. Big Show gets the shoulder up. Strowman can't believe it. He thought it was 3.
I don't think anyone can believe it.
This has been a war, guys.
Oh, you think? And now Braun Strowman.
Oh,
knockout punch! Knockout punch! Big Show's knocked out Strowman.
That's
Big
it.
Show with the cover. Hook of the leg. Strowman kicked out at 2. And now it's Big Show's turn to face the disappointment.
Back in the day, Big Show's finishing move was a big elbow off the top rope. Couldn't we see it tonight?
Or maybe a Braun Strowman, though, quick as a cat. Gonna meet Big Show up at the top rope. Big Show looked like he was gonna come off the top. Now Braun Strowman looking for a superplex, perhaps of his own. Strowman and Big Show.
No way.
Above the ring, Big Show going to the top rope now.
What? No way. This can't be possible.
What on earth? Oh my God! The ring just imploded.
Wow.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 52 of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. This is the student game professional wrestling. Josh Lopez here to entertain you for the next hour or so here on this Wednesday, April 19th of 2017, depending when you guys are listening to this podcast. This is your boy, Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at NotoriousJoshi. I am on the Pipe Bomb with McCool & Company on the New Age Insiders Network, which you check out every Fridays on the NAI Network. To subscribe there on iTunes and leave a review there for the good brothers at the Pipe Bomb. And also, you can leave a review for this podcast as well. All you have to do is subscribe to the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast and leave a review. Tell a friend about it. That's all I ask. You get this podcast free of charge every single week, whether it's on iTunes or on YouTube. And I'm here to entertain you guys for the next hour or so. Here to have some fun, talk about the crazy world of professional wrestling. I know you guys have so many other things you could be focusing on. But if you decide to take some time out of your day to support what I'm doing here, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the support. I truly mean it. We got a lot to get into this week as always. I really don't have anything to rant about. I'm not really mad about anything. I know I did the rant on JBL and Vince Russo last week. That got some traction, but it was needed to be said. I'm not going to do rants just to do rants. You can listen to that to every other wrestling podcast that's out there. But you know what? I'm here to have fun. I'm here to provide some insight from my point of view and the research I do for the business. I'm not an expert. I'm not an analyst. I'm just me. I'm a wrestling fan, just like you, and I'm doing the podcast for you, the wrestling fan. And we're here to change the game of professional wrestling podcasts because to me, maybe some people feel different, but I feel the market of pro wrestling podcasts is outdated and oversaturated, and the style of pro wrestling podcasts is outdated and a little bit stale in my opinion. But hey, I'm here to entertain you guys, and let's have some fun, shall we? We got to talk about all the crazy stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling, from WWE and the business in general. So if you ever have any questions that you ever want me to answer about wrestling or sports or music or anything like that, please shoot an email to you truly at joshlopezwwe94@gmail.com. Just type in the word questions in the subject line. And by the way, if you want to be an advertiser and want to be a supporter of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast, all you have to do is send an email to joshlopezwwe94@gmail.com using the subject line advertising. I am live from not a studio apartment, but my own studio right here in Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to Colt. A couple weeks out from my birthday, coming up on May 7th. I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. I'm turning 23 this year. Think about that. It's crazy. I just want to give some quick shout outs out of the way because I am all about the PMA, the positive mental attitude, and I like to give thanks and shout outs to the people who helped me get to where I am today. So, really quick, I want to give shout outs to the good brother from the UK, James D'Lo from Gorilla Position. Give him a shout out. WWE GP on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast as well, Gorilla Position. And James does a lot of great work covering WWE, doing side documentaries here and there. And James is a very, very talented producer of entertainment. Not only wrestling, but also what he does is other projects. So follow James on Twitter at James D'Lo, and follow Gorilla Position at WWGP on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and tell them that your boy Josh Lopez sent you. Also, I want to give a shout out to my crew at the Sports Drive, which I do every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Sean, Browning, Frank, Justin, and Snowman. We do the show 2 hours long. It's a non-politically correct sports talk show that we do from 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So if you're miserable at your cubicles or something, you want to get your mind off of work or whatever, or things that are bothering you, not only can you listen to this podcast, but you can also catch up the live editions of the Sports Drive we do every Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. That's on my YouTube channel. Speaking of my YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be trying to put some more work into it and add some different type of content in there. But besides that, you're going to get every single edition of this particular podcast and, of course, the Sports Drive. And if I ever have any side wrestling interviews that I do, I'll post those up there as well. Also, more shout-outs. My good brother and mentor, Steve Muehlhausen, who got me my start in doing play-by-play articles. Follow me on Twitter at SMuehlhausen, MMA. Shout out to the Dailies, Sam and Adam Daly, the good brother and sister. Hope all's going well with them. Check out the show Wrestling With on Spreaker and mindofcarnage.com. Shout out to Brother Carter, the Obsolete Mule, Derek Stoughton, at Twitter at Jericho06. That's Jericho with a D. Me and him host the Universal Chatter Show on Mondays for Raw on WrestlingRumors.net. And we got over 10,000 viewers for this past Monday's Raw and our live Universal Chatter Show, which was really, really cool. So shout out to the people in the chat room that always are supporters of Universal Chatter. Also, shout out to the whole NAI Network crew, from Ant to G-Rod to the main guys, Liam, Jason, and Bill. This is a great crew over there at the NAI Network. Of course, shout out to B-Rob. Follow me on Twitter. It's B-Rob. And, of course, the good brother Matt at McCool NAI. That's pretty much it for shout-outs for now. And also, lastly, sorry not least, of course, the good brother Frank Manso at FManso3 as well. So, got the shots out of the way. Look, man, I said this a lot last week. I think we're in head for a good run of summer programming here. I don't feel the WrestleMania hangover that's usually there after every single WrestleMania. There's so much rising young talent in the WWE right now, and I think it's important to point out that we're watching the transition of these characters from not only being mid-card performers, but taking that next step in their careers. And I'm going to touch on that a lot when it comes to SmackDown this week. And I guess the moral theme of today's show is really looking at what you want as a wrestling fan. Because you hear a lot. You hear from fans, you hear from forums, you hear from chat rooms, you hear from podcasts and video shows and etc. What's the one main thing everybody says in wrestling, right? If you're a fan. I want something different. I want something creative. I want to see WWE do something different. Take risks, take a chance, try something. And then when they do something out of the box that you don't expect or that you don't want, it's, oh my God, they're so stupid. What ass backwards booking and all those other stuff you hear all the time. And I just find that funny, to be honest with you. I really do. And I'm going to talk about that a lot in my SmackDown review in just a couple of minutes. But it's like, you want something different, and then when it's give it to you, it's not good enough. And I've noticed a mentality that unless a performer has a good work rate or has the credibility for working from Ring of Honor and NXT, if it's just a WWE trained performer, those guys don't deserve those opportunities. That's the mentality I saw from the common wrestling fan today. And I think that's unfortunate. I really do. Tell me what bad characteristics does Jinder Mahal have? What qualities and character traits of Jinder Mahal that irks you so much and that he doesn't deserve an opportunity? Why is it that people like Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin are looked down to because they didn't spend years in the indies? Why does a guy like Batista get flack for getting over on his own accord, but he comes back and, he's holding talents down and we got to chant Blue Tista at the guy? What's wrong with WWE born talent? Why does that turn people off when it comes to getting title shots? Like, this is not something new. This has been going on for years. Rejecting John Cena because he wasn't a character or a wrestler that wasn't born on his own accord from a different promotion. Like, you got the performance, and I love them, like Chris Jericho and Benoit and Eddie and et cetera, from over the years that made names for themselves in WCW and ECW. And all power to them. I love them as performers, and they all deserve the respect that they deserved and got. My point is, when you have a WWE built character over a period of time, like Miz, for example, right? Everybody wants to rip the Miz. Miz doesn't deserve this. The only reason he's doing this is because he had run in the real world. The Miz is not worthy of being a main event guy. He should have never main evented at WrestleMania. And you go 5 or 6 years later, and what's everybody saying? Oh my God, Miz is awesome. He should get back into the title scene. Miz is one of the few WWE crafted performers that succeeded in spite of, this guy's not deserving this and not deserving that crowd. And I'm happy for Miz. I really am. I'm an advocate for people to prove people wrong. I'm an advocate for those who say, you shouldn't get this opportunity because you didn't do this or that. I'm advocate for people who take advantage of the opportunities that are presented for them and make the most out of it. Because someone's going to come up to you and offer you an opportunity. And you're just going to say, no, because I'm going to reject this because I didn't have enough time to put into this situation. You learn something new every single day of your life. I learn something new every week when I do this podcast. I do. I learn something new with every wrestling show I watch. I learned something new every play-by-play article I did over the years. I don't feel like I'm entitled to anything. I like to feel like I'm earning something. But if someone's going to offer me an opportunity, you bet your damn ass I'm going to take it. Because tomorrow's not guaranteed. You got to make the most of your opportunities when you're around. And for people to look down at Baron Corbin and Miz and Roman Reigns and Batista and countless of other WWE-breaded performers over the years, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's ignorant, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong. I love Kevin Owens. I love him. I love Sami Zayn. I love all those other guys too, and they're deserving as well for their positions. But it's kind of the mentality of, unless a performer that did time in Ring of Honor or et cetera, is not getting title shots, then the division for that particular title is crap. And I think that's bullshit. I really do. I think it's unfortunate. I think it's nearsighted. It's narrow-minded in my point of view. I could be wrong. You can say I'm wrong. That's perfectly fine. We don't always have to agree. My point is that it's really funny that we lash out at WWE for not taking the time to create fully breaded stars from their own company because of what? Subjective booking decisions? Yeah, when they give those guys an opportunity, oh, they're not deserving it. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, Nakamura can't get a WWE title match, but Jinder Mahal does? Oh, Ty Dillinger can't get a shot? The guys just came up on the roster like 2 weeks ago. And who even knows if Jinder Mahal will even get to Chicago as the number one contender at Backlash? I don't know. But I'm willing to give things a chance. And I think that's what separates me from most of the wrestling podcast people out there, because I'm willing to see how things play out. I'm not a person to assume, because those who assume make asses out of themselves. I like Jinder Mahal as a wrestler. I do. And I'm going to talk about it in just a couple minutes. But closing out this monologue here, I just think it's very unfortunate that, okay, it's fine that when WWE pushes the Ring of Honor and TNA stars, but when you look at WWE homegrown talent like Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin and Miz, you guys hold them to different standards. I think that's unfortunate. But hey, like I always say on the show, that's my opinion. We're going to take a clip here for SmackDown to hear comments from Sami Zayn after losing his six-pack challenge to Jinder Mahal on last night's SmackDown Live from Louisville, Kentucky. And we're also going to hear comments from Jinder Mahal from last night's Talking Smack as well. I'll come back. I'll give you my thoughts on SmackDown Live, the land of opportunity, and where things could be going for the Blue brand heading into Backlash.
Sammy, in the six-pack challenge, you were moments away from what seemed to be you becoming number one contender for the WWE Championship. Take us back and talk us through the ending of that match.
What's the question there? How do I feel? What's the question exactly?
I just wanted you to walk us through the ending of that match.
I think everybody saw what happened, and I don't really know what to say right now. You know, it's I feel like it's the same story on repeat, and sometimes it just gets pretty upsetting. You know, it's the same. It's NXT all over again. It's Raw all over again. It's the same story all over again. It's a second place finish every time. You know, it's about opportunity, and when I get the opportunity, it always seems to elude me. The glory eludes me by a hair every time. And right now, I really don't know what to say. I'm really angry. I'm really heartbroken. I'm a lot of things. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I don't.
You had your first time where you and Randy got face-to-face in there tonight. Mm-hmm. What were you feeling? You feeling
I felt like
confident?
I'm going to take his championship. No,
That's
very
it.
confident.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how hard I work. I know what I'm capable of.
But it's different, you know. And
No,
sometimes being in there competing, I can say that you look in someone's eyes and you get a whole different vibe.
No, I see
Especially
fear in
somebody
his
like
eyes.
Randy
He
Orton.
knows that I'm a threat. He knows I'm I'm younger than him. I'm faster than him. I'm in better conditioning than him. I'm in better shape than him. He should have every reason to be nervous of me. Why would I be nervous of him?
I was just asking the
He
question.
has more
Randy
to
Orton
lose.
looks like he keeps in pretty peak performance shape all year round.
I got to give it to him. Yes, he does. But you know what? He's at the top of the mountain, and there's only one place to go for him. You know, they say a crocodile is most vulnerable after he eats. You know, I'm like a shark that's hungry and just got a taste of blood for the first time. So Randy Orton should be very worried.
What I've always appreciated about the SmackDown Live brand has been it's always been not only focusing on more of the character development through in-ring matches, but giving other talents an opportunity to shine where they wouldn't on Raw. So, for example, when the not real Americans, but when Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, before they became a tag team, they were starting to gain momentum. Like, I feel like a lot of times people feel that the current push of talents before the brand split happened was only based on what happened on Raw. And I would be like, no, pay attention to SmackDown. I think it was important to pay attention to both shows because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you learn something new with every show you watch. I don't care how long you've been watching wrestling. You can always learn something new, whether it's positive, bad, or indifferent. You can always learn something new as a wrestling fan. Like, for example, for me, right? You guys know me. I'm a professional broadcaster. I said I never wanted to be a wrestler. I've always wanted to be an announcer or a writer. And with that, I had to study the business, right? You know, there's not a broadcasting school for wrestlers. There's not. There's not broadcasting school for wrestling announcers. There's not a course you could take to become a WWE writer. You know what I mean? I would love if there's an opportunity to do that, but there's not. But so my point is, like, when I was covering SmackDown for whether it was Between the Ropes or WrestleZone, I got latched onto performers that people felt they're like, oh, they're just stuck in the middle with the 50-50 club. And that wasn't the case, because they would watch Raw, and I get it, it's 3 hours long, but nobody's telling you to sit there for 3 hours. But people only look at the perception of what a character is based on what happened on Raw before the brand split happened. And that's a shoot. Because I would look at guys like Bray Wyatt, right? Or Cesaro, or Sheamus, and Miz, and so many other performers that people look at them, they're just 50-50 club guys. They're never able to go to the next level. They do great work on SmackDown, but it went over everybody's head because they were so focused on what was happening on the flagship show. They wouldn't give SmackDown the time of day because you still had the spoilers out there, which I thought was always stupid. I've never been a spoiler guy. Even with me doing the play-by-play articles, at least they're freaking live. It's really a slap in the face in your audience when you're doing spoilers and stuff, and it's a slap in the face of the performers as well. But that's my opinion. Anyways, like, I learned something new, and I get invested, and I can look at the bigger picture of certain angles when you watch every single show, and you're not thinking that a certain character's stock of credibility is not ruined off of one performance on one show. Like, okay, not every performer is going to hit it out of the park every week. I don't care if it's movies or music. Not every album's going to click. Not every movie that Tom Hanks is going to do is going to be a hit. You have those rare defined performers like a Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan, or et cetera, who were so damn good at what they did that they elevated themselves time in and time out. But also you have talented performers that will strike out here and there, whether it's on them or the scripts didn't go out the way they wanted. JR said this a lot in his podcast. You got to maximize the opportunities you get on television each week. And that's what I've noticed when I was covering SmackDown even before the brand split. Guys like Cesaro, guys like Tyson Kidd, guys like Miz and Sandow and Cody Rhodes and Dean Ambrose and et cetera, would maximize on their television time on SmackDown. And hey, even Sheamus and Bad News Barrett. You know, I get it. We look at Raw and they get lost in the fact that it's the variety show, but I think there's more character development that happens in weekly WWE programming. It's just that we as a fan base are too lazy to sort out that information. Look at Talking Smack. What is that show? What's the purpose for Talking Smack, huh? Character development. Why does Shane tell you 100 times a week that SmackDown Live is the land of opportunity? Character development. Go to the brand. If you're not clicking on Raw, here, I'll try to give you different shades of gray or new coat of paint. Here, we'll give you a shot like Epico and Primo. Now they're called the Colons. I think that's awesome. As a fellow Puerto Rican, I want to see the Colons do good because the Colons are a big wrestling family that don't get the respect they deserve. Puerto Rico was a good territory. I get it that some of the promoters down there were kind of shady and some stuff like that, but Puerto Rico was always a good wrestling territory. And I think the Colons do deserve respect. I think they're underrated performers in the ring, and when you saw them beat American Alpha yesterday, and everybody's like, are you effing kidding me? American Alpha was one of the best teams in NXT. American Alpha should never lose. Here's something that I've never understand in wrestling. We get it. It's predetermined, right? I'm not going to throw the fake word at you guys. You can listen to Disco Inferno and Vince Russo's dumbass say that every single week. I never looked this at as a sport, but I don't get why we as fans get so boggled down by wins and losses when the company hasn't given a shit about wins and loss records in 30 years. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to break this down, there were 50-50 booking in the Attitude Era. There was 50-50 booking in the Ruthless Aggression Era. Like, I don't care about that stuff. I don't. Did you maximize the time you're on television? Was I entertained by the match you provided me in the time I invested into your match on SmackDown and Raw? That's the stuff I look into when I watch a show. I don't care what their win-loss record. Oh, American Alpha's getting buried because they lost 6 straight of weekly television programming. Oh yeah, 50-50 club. They're not 50-50 bookie doesn't help anybody. Okay, 50-50 bookie doesn't help anybody, but when a guy like Roman Reigns or Baron Corbin gets on a winning streak, it's Vince likes him. Vince is going to give him the mega push. He's going to shove him down your throat. It's like, I've never understand the double standard in the wrestling fandom and the wrestling media. 1 second we want something different and want other guys to get opportunities. Guys like Jinder Mahal or Epico and Primo get opportunities, and this is ridiculous. Why am I wasting money to go to a show when all they're going to give me is Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE title? Because Jinder Mahal lost a lot of matches on Raw. I get it in life that perception is reality, but the reason I watch wrestling is so I can escape from reality. So I don't bring perception is reality to professional wrestling, because if that was the case and I was burning out and stressed over something in wrestling, I wouldn't give a flying F, or I wouldn't watch. So this stuff bothers me. It does. Because it takes the enjoyment out of the product. Whining and bitching over so many meaningless concepts and hearsay terms and insider this and that and rumor and innuendo nonsense, it's bullshit. It's always been bullshit. And, I've been the outcast of the rest of the media because I have my stance on things, and I'm not a sheep that follows every little thing that Dave Meltzer says. And we use this lexicon of, this guy deserves this push because of this factor or that factor. And I never understand it. I don't. And I'm willing to speak up about it. It's just that simple. But SmackDown's the land of opportunity. They're going to give Jinder Mahal and Epico and Primo an opportunity. What, you expect them to come on there and lose? Well, what's the point of putting emphasis on them last week? Trying something out of the box. That's why people latched on to SmackDown Live last year. It wasn't just because they were pushing the indie darlings. It's because they were pushing everybody. They were giving everybody a shot. Naomi and Charlotte Flair killed it last night. I thought they had a great match, and I thought they had a good promo to start out the show. I don't know where things are going to go with this Natalya, Carmella, Tamina thing, but I don't mind it. They have a logical reason for why they would be upset that Charlotte's already getting a title shot. So we'll see what goes from there. Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's still trying to show that he's a guy that needs respect and deserves respect. AJ Styles is the number 1 contender for the U.S. Championship. We got to wait till after Payback to get that feud going with him and Kevin Owens. You know what happens? AJ Styles takes on Baron Corbin in the main event in a very good match last night. Now, Baron Corbin is not affected by a count-out loss. On the main roster, Kevin Owens is doing the Faces of America thing, which I think is really funny. I really do. I really think it's funny. I do think the Open Challenge is going to be pretty funny as well. I like the fact they got his face in that and all the red, white, and blue stuff. Kevin Owens is a freaking man. And then going back to what I mentioned earlier with Jinder, we had the six-pack challenge to crown the number one contender for the WWE Championship. And, okay, I get it. It would be cool to see Luke Harper get an opportunity at the WWE Championship. It would. It would be cool to see Sami Zayn get an opportunity to face Randy Orton at Backlash. It would. But I'm not in a rush to see that. I don't think Sami Zayn's career is going to be over anytime soon just because he's not getting a title shot. Give the guy a chance. And maybe something will be interesting with this Bollywood's appearing now. I don't know. But I don't need to know the answers to everything. I've said that a lot on this show. But I feel like it's the double standard of, we want something different and go on a limb and take a chance. But when they do that, it's always something else that's not good enough for anybody. And I just don't get that mentality. I really don't. SmackDown Live is the land of opportunity. Give Epico and Primo as the Colons a chance. Maybe this is the opportunity where they finally actually just be themselves and whoop people's ass. Look how that helped the Usos last year. You know, like I get it. Certain talents are not going to click sometimes, but you never know if you don't give them a chance. And the whether or not people deserve certain title shots because of this factor or that factor is just one of the stupidest arguments I could ever hear ever in wrestling. Because at the end of the day, nobody deserves anything in wrestling. They don't. They give you an opportunity, and you got to make the most out of it. It's that simple. And just because somebody wins the number one contendership to a championship doesn't mean automatically that person and the champion is going to feud for 3 months. This is not WWE Universe on WWE 2K17. So, like I said, I'm not in for this double standard of, it's okay for Ring of Honor and indie guys to get title pushes, but just because Jinder Mahal and Epico and Primo were treated as enhancement talent on Raw, that means they're other wasted time and that they shouldn't get opportunities. I think that's ass backwards. I think that's a double standard that's just really, really unfortunate. You know why I enjoyed the six-pack challenge last night? Because it was something different. The crowd was into it. Louisville was a great crowd last night for SmackDown Live. It really was. But at the same time, Jinder winning caught me by surprise. I'd rather be surprised than already knowing who's going to win before the bell even rings. And it's just that simple. So, AJ Styles will be taking on Kevin Owens, looking towards Backlash for the United States Championship. That's going to be a lot of fun. Charlotte and Naomi, I talked about it earlier. I think those two are in for a really, really good rivalry coming up. I could expect possibly the Usos versus the Colons versus American Alpha. That'll be a lot of fun. It looks like Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt are not going to be fighting for the WWE title. It's just going to be the House of Horror match, which should be interesting. I'll keep you guys updated if anything changes, but it looks like most of the advertising is, it's just the House of Horror match. The WWE title will not be on the line. So we'll see what happens. I thought Jinder did another good job on talking smack. And I think Shane's response to him helped validate that. And it looks like Daniel Bryan's going to be taking some time off because Birdie Joe is on her way. So congrats to Bree and Brian, depending when the baby does come out soon. Congrats to that lovely couple. And probably sometime in the summer you'll see good old Daniel Bryan coming back as general manager of SmackDown. So overall, I thought SmackDown was decent. They really did emphasize the focus on the new talents from Raw coming to SmackDown Live and making a name out of themselves, and they did that. And I think it's cool. Give Jinder Mahal and Primo and Epico a chance. Give them a chance. If it doesn't work out, then we'll wish them well in their future endeavors. But I wanted to give different talents an opportunity. And it doesn't always have to be the Ring of Honor guys. As much as I love them, I'm happy that they're getting TV time each week. They don't always have to be going for titles in order to have credibility on the main roster. So, overall, I thought SmackDown was decent. We're going to go talk into Monday Night Raw, and then we're going to head out for the rest of the week. And really some awesome stuff from Columbus, Ohio. Braun Strowman and Big Show break a ring. I got a bevy of clips to play here. And one more importantly, Chris Jericho once again killing it in a backstage interview with Mike Rome. This is going to be very entertaining. I'm going to play that clip for you. And also going to hear comments from the new #1 contender to the Raw Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss, as well. I'll be right back, and we'll talk about Monday Night Raw.
Alexa, congratulations. In front of your hometown tonight in Columbus, you are now the #1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship.
Of course I'm #1 contender. Doesn't matter if it's SmackDown Live, Raw. I always said that I was going to take over the women's division, and I proved it here tonight. Now, if you'd excuse me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest at this time, Chris Jericho. Chris, earlier tonight you were unsuccessful in your attempt against Samoa Joe.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, Tom. I lost to Samoa Joe, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with that, because Samoa Joe is a tremendous competitor, one of the best I've faced in a WWE ring. But I'm also a little bit sidetracked, because I still am focused and can't stop thinking against my rematch at Payback with Kevin Owens, that stupid idiot. I mean, Owens calls himself the face of America. Have you seen his face? That is an ugly, ugly face. I mean, he is not a good-looking guy. America deserves better. America deserves the face of Jericho. Frame it in, man. So at Payback, Owens versus Jericho for the United States Championship. And if I win, I go to SmackDown Live. Which, a little bit of controversy. I mean, I love Monday Night Raw, but it doesn't matter if it's Raw or SmackDown Live or NXT or Velocity or Sunday Night Heat or Nitro. Wherever I go, the friends of Jericho follow me, man. The friends of Jericho are always with Y2J, baby. I mean, you can hear him. Can you hear him? Can you hear him? Can you hear him? I mean, listen, Tom, it sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Right? What a great group of friends of Jericho, Tom.
I'm Mike, remember?
I spent all this time learning your name, Tom, and now you tell me it's Mike. What is it? Is it Mike or Tom? What's your name?
Mike.
Tom.
Mike.
Tom.
Mike.
Mike.
Tom.
See? You don't even know your own name, Mike, Tom. And you know what happens when you don't know your own name? You know what happens when you're not even sure who you... Scratch that, you're off the hook. You know what happens, strange, straggling strummer, when you interrupt Chris Jericho? You know what happens, weird, wandering wayfarer, when you walk through Chris Jericho's promo? You know what happens, daffy, drifter, dandy? You just made the list! Thanks, Tom.
I got a question for the fans of this show. How long do you think it takes before Elias Samson gets absolutely demolished by Braun Strowman while he's playing the guitar? That's the question I have for you guys. You can send those responses at Twitter at Notorious Joshi, because that's pretty funny, man. As a fellow guitar player, and I've seen a little bit of Elias Samson's work in NXT, I have to say I'm not impressed. Just humbly speaking, I have my own guitar right here, actually. And what chord was he playing? I think he was playing A, to be honest with you. This is the first year of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I never really played my own guitar for you guys in person. Yeah, right? He's doing A, and then E. Yeah. And then I think he did an E minor. Yeah, and then an A. Alright. Not too shabby, I guess. See, if I could do it, anybody can do it. Just put your mind to it. Playing guitar is a lot of fun. How about that? That was the first. I never played a guitar here for you guys. Maybe I should do that sometime in the future. I should play guitar here on the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Woo! Okay, Monday Night Raw for Columbus, Ohio. I thought the show was off the charts. Me and Brother Carter were having a blast on Monday night. WWE Payback's coming up a week from this Sunday from the SAP Center, the Shark Tank, as it's known, in San Jose, California. Great arena, very comfortable, good seats, and good air conditioning, more importantly. For those that have ever been to the Shark Tank, you know what I'm talking about. I love the San Jose area. It's a great town. I was down there a couple years ago for WrestleMania 31. And it was a freaking blast. WWE Payback's looking pretty good so far. We have 7 matches. I'll run them down for you really quick before I give you the rest of my thoughts on Raw. We have Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss won a fatal 4-way match between Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Nia Jax to become the new number 1 contender to the Raw Women's Championship. So Bayley will be taking on Alexa Bliss. That should be fine. Let me say this really quick. I thought the 4-way match was really, really, really good for the women. They got multiple segments. I joke around here about the whole Mickie James and the waterfall thing, but Mickie James has always been my favorite wrestler. Her work in the ring is just absolutely off the chain. I love what she does in the ring. She's very, very underrated as a veteran and quite underappreciated so far in this run. I thought she had an amazing outing this past Monday on Raw. So I want to give a shout out to the lovely Mickie James. I don't know about you guys, but have you seen that Sasha Banks has been trying to intentionally make herself look more sexy every single week? Maybe it's just me. It's like I'm growing more and more into Sasha Banks from a looks perspective. Everybody knows what she can do in the ring and stuff, but mamma mia, man. Like, I joke around with being the Notorious one and my love and for B.I.G. and Christopher Watts. He's my inspiration and my idol. But, man, she's like on straight Faith Evans mode. I'm loving it. Keep it up, Sasha. And Nia did her part as well. I don't mind this. I thought Alexa Bliss did a good job as well in this match. It was a very, very good 4-way match, and I think her and Bayley will be good. I don't think it was the time to do Bayley and Sasha right now. Probably better to do Bayley versus Sasha going into SummerSlam. So I do not mind the fact that Bayley's going to take on Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. And who knows? Maybe Alexa Bliss does win next Sunday. I'm not going to give my predictions away because we'll do that for next week's show. As far as more matches on Raw, of course, we got Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. The winner of that match will be going to SmackDown Live. So Kevin Owens is already on the roster, so he's not going anywhere. So if Chris Jericho wins, he will be part of the SmackDown roster as well. That match is going to be a lot of fun. Chris Jericho did a great job again, like I mentioned. Like I played that clip right there with Mike Rome. The backstage announcer played that role perfectly. And the whole Elias Samson thing was pretty funny. Got, what else? Austin Aries versus Neville rematch for the Cruiserweight Championship. That should be pretty good. Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. That's going to be a lot of fun. That was made this past Monday. It's really cool. Chris Jericho and Samoa Joe had a very, very good match on Raw this past Monday night. I thought that was a really good, solid night of wrestling matches. You had Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro, which was a very good match as well for the first time ever. And of course, you cannot forget about that main event that happened on Raw this past Monday night. Holy shnikes. You had Big Show and Braun Strowman. It was the night of Braun Strowman. He's demolishing everyone. And Braun! Braun and Big Show actually break the ring. It finally happened. Some people thought Braun and Big Show were actually going to break the ring before WrestleMania, but they actually decided to do it now. And this is a whole big thread of the show of showing more how destructive Braun Strowman was and how big he is and how much momentum the guy's getting. And I could be happy for him because he's another homegrown WWE talent. And he's getting good praise from the crowd, so I'm happy for Braun Strowman. They also announced that he's going to be taking on Roman Reigns at Payback. So Roman will be taking on Braun. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be an awesome match. Speaking of other matches that were announced, we knew that Bray Wyatt was going to take on Randy Orton. I'm going to play that promo for you guys to close out the show this week. But just going back to Raw with the the stuff with the Hardys, it's just very unfortunate that Jeff Jarrett and Anthem are holding not only the Hardys but the fans from the Broken Brilliant stuff because it's great. And it's just unfortunate that they're being selfish and they're trying to say that they're the ones responsible for the delete and all that stuff. That's nonsense. I wish Impact would grow a set and just let them get the freaking trademark. You didn't create the Broken Hardys. You're not responsible for total nonstop deletion. I get JB was producing the stuff and he did amazing work. JB's the man. I'm not ripping him, but the company should not be holding the Hardys for using the IP for the Broken Brilliance when, if you really think about it, the Hardys and JB probably spent most of the money producing those clips. So, I think that's unfortunate. Overall, I thought Raw was fine. I thought it was a very good show heading into Payback. Raw will have their final show this Monday before Payback in Kansas City. So if you're out there in the Midwest area, go check that out at the Sprint Center. Monday Night Raw, the final Raw before WWE Payback. You know, I noticed a thread with WWE Payback over the years. Chris Jericho always seems to have big matches at Payback. You remember the first one he had with CM Punk? That was when Punk came back from the Undertaker match, and he had the Black Hawks gear. You had Chris Jericho, of course, versus Dean Ambrose last year in Chicago. That was a very good one as well. So Chris Jericho is pretty big on the Payback matches, and he's also the poster boy for this year's Payback pay-per-view as well. So I wonder if that's going to be the main event of the show. But overall, another good week with WWE programming. You got to take these shows one show at a time, folks. Sit back, look at the bigger picture. That's my spoken word for the day. Take it one day at a time, no matter what it is. Whether you're a sports fan, life, enjoying wrestling, one show, one breath, one day at a time. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting this week's edition of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. This is the year-end special, folks. This literally makes it a year now of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. And that's thanks to you guys. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support, as always, for this podcast. all you can do to help support the podcast and help it reach more people is to send an email to joshlopezww94@gmail.com with the subject line advertising. Also to spread the word about it. Tell a friend about it on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, MySpace, whatever. MyFace, whatever social media destination of your choosing. Tell the friends about the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast, the fastest rising pro wrestling podcast in the game, and we're changing the game of the pro wrestling podcast game. You can follow yours truly at Twitter at NotoriousJoshi, at Twitter and Instagram at NotoriousJoshi. Like this video, subscribe on my YouTube channel, subscribe to get all previous editions of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Also, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. You get all the audio editions of the podcast as well. So, thank you guys so much for supporting this week's Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. I'll be back next week to give you my predictions and preview for WWE Payback 2017. Enjoy your weekend, and I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for taking your time today. I know you had many more important things to worry about and focusing on, but you decided to take an hour or so to hang out with me. That means a lot from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. This has been another edition of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Peace.
I have a question. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of the dark? Is it the fear of the unknown? Is it the monster that lives underneath your bed? Fear is what brings you all together. It is your common bond. But I am not like you. I don't bow down to the feet of fear. I control it. I harness it. Fear lives within my house of horrors. I know you're scared, Randy. I can smell it. Because in my house of horrors, all your fears will come to life. You're in for quite the ride, Randy. I will drag you down the hill so far that your skin will blister and your blood will boil. Right before your skin fries, as your heart bursts, I will fly you up to the heavens as high as you can go. Right before I reach the light, I will drop you back down into the abyss. You will feel like a heathen, stretched on the rack, bones breaking. You will feel like an infidel in chains, forced to gnaw on his own arm to escape. You will know pain. You will know fear. You will know horror. And when you're screaming in agony, Randy, it will be my ecstasy. Your suffering will motivate me. Your pain will fuel me. Your screams will play like symphony to my ears. My house of horrors will forever be the nightmare at the end of your dreams. And when I leave this house of horrors, I will leave alone. But before I go, I'm going to burn it to the ground with you inside. Come. Join me, Ren. In the fire where it all began. And in the fire where it shall end. It all burns down here, Randy.